Hey, what's up? This is Joshua. Daily video blog. It is brisk, to say the least, and it's windy. Um, so hopefully it just sounds naturey today, and we'll kind of take it as that. So we're continuing this idea making series. And the next thing, hold on, I guess there's somebody behind me. It's unnerving me. No. Okay, so we're continuing this idea making series. I feel like I should find like a nice spot. This has got a cool path. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, idea making continued. Okay, so a pretentious thing that I like to talk about is the idea that I think that you should be more focused on working than coming up with ideas. And that furthermore, if you struggle to come up with ideas, that there's something broken in your process. I have talked a little bit about that, but I want to break down a little bit. Like, let's say you legitimately cannot, for the life of you, come up with an idea for a project. You have tried research and brainstorming and bed note diagrams, all kinds of stuff, and mind mapping, all that stuff, and nothing is working. Like, no compelling idea is coming up. There is a good chance that you simply don't know how to find good ideas, but let's assume that you're not dumb and you figured it and you kind of know what you're doing. And you're just, in this instance, you're stuck, it's not working. So how could you come up with an idea without having to come up with an idea? So one thing that you could do, and this will be one of these strategies for coming up with ideas in spite of everything, is to forget about having a big idea or a big concept, and instead use the context for the thing that you are making as a first step and as a process of elimination. So if you think about any kind of artistic breakthrough or a person who breaks through a creative breakthrough, they're always going to have contrast to what's around them. A big brand that comes into a market out of nowhere and surprises everyone is going to have contrast with the market. Hell, you can see this in the presidential run right now. Donald Trump came in and decimated the Republican field, in large part because the Republican field seemed to be divided into sort of two groups of roughly the same people. And he came in and had contrast. Bernie Sanders was doing the same thing, and it seems like maybe there was messing around with the DNC to help kind of end that, to make sure that they came through with the safe bet. And if you think about how often presidential candidates lately, at least in my lifetime, have been decided by contrast and upsets, no one knew who Obama was, and then all of a sudden he was like a serious contender, and it was large part because contrast. So you can apply that same principle to coming up with an idea for something. So let's say you want to make, I don't know, let's say you want to write a novel, and you're stuck and you cannot think about what you want to write about. As a methodology, you could do something very simple. You could pick some place where you want to see your work, and then you could analyze that particular market. So you could look at the New York Times Sunday Review of Books, whatever it's called. You could go to the new releases table at Barnes & Noble, or you could look at the bestsellers on Amazon, whatever it is. You could define some kind of market, and then you could look for what are the common themes. For example, is everything going through a weird period of being very long and verbose? Is everything geared towards teens? Is everything about supernatural stuff? Or is everyone talking about death or divorce or whatever it is? You can start to look for those themes and then sort of go, okay, what's the opposite of that? Maybe I'm going to write a short, informal, conversational novel, but maybe I'll tackle the same theme, and the contrast will be in my my delivery or my style. Could definitely apply the same thing to graphic design. that you're working on an identity for a I don't know, a paint company. Actually, how about like this? You're working on an identity for a chiropractor, and you go and look at all the chiropractors, and they're all doing roughly the same thing. It kind of falls into two things: the super holistic looking thing and the generic bad design thing. Like that they just brought it to the counter at some place and said, I need a logo or a business card or whatever. So you could go like, okay, what are they doing? What would be some opposites of that? And you could start looking at other stuff, like how are they marketing themselves? What are their offices like? If all their offices are super aromatherapy but generic doctor's offices type vibe with a carpet and whatnot, maybe you go and find a spot in a beautiful historic building. Maybe you put yourself in a residential neighborhood. Maybe you, I don't know, don't give out business cards. You do something else. Maybe instead of doing any marketing, you just do YouTube videos, whatever it is. But you could start to define strategies and aesthetics and all of that stuff based around a strategy of contrast. Now, the other thing is that you could also just use that as a form of research. Because if you start doing that, you'll probably start having some ideas get sparked. And I think one of the things that you have to kind of come to terms with is not being so attached to everything you're investigating being the final outcome and the final output, that you can investigate an idea just as an end into itself in hopes that it prompts new ideas. And I think when you start getting into the idea of the concepts I play with are open-ended and growing, and they're not just an end into themselves, but they're always research for the next thing. It takes a lot of the pressure off to have a good idea and instead just be focused on lots of ideas, novel ideas, interesting ideas, or taking boring ideas and turning them into interesting ideas. So that is a strategy for either research or ideation when you are stuck. Look at the market your thing will operate in. Everything is a market in a way. If market is uncomfortable, look at the scene. And then look for ways of contrasting. There's probably a good chance that you could just build a career based on that notion. All right, thanks a lot for watching.